Hi, today is Tuesday, October 22nd, and this is the BSH Brief. This is the BSH Brief. My name is Ryan, and boy oh boy are things suboptimal. The Flyers played 3 games last week, and precisely 0 of them resulted in wins. They lost to Donovan McNabb's nephew and the Edmonton Oilers by a score of 4-3 in overtime on Tuesday, and then on Thursday they lost to the Seattle Kraken by a score of 6-4. Cool. And finally, in their first home game of the season, they were blanked by the Vancouver Canucks by a score of 3-0. Things could be better. Let's start with the Oilers game. On paper, it's a loss, so that stinks. But Matvei Michkov was so good. He logged both his first and second career NHL goals that night, but then Leon Draisaitl and Connor McDavid happened in overtime, and you know how that movie ends. Sam Ersson, meanwhile, was really good that game. He turned aside 27 shots and looked just really good, really comfortable in the crease. That's become a bit of a theme here in the season's early going, so a little more on that later. You know what else has become a theme? Ivan Fedotov being awful. Fedotov got the start against Seattle Thursday night, and while a lot of interesting things happened that game, from fights to a lot of goals and all that, the main takeaway might just be that he ain't it as an NHL backup goalie. Fedotov let in 5 goals on 24 Seattle shots before Sam Ersson was thrown in to replace him on his night off. At least 2 or 3 of the goals he allowed should not have been let in. Those are saves an NHL goalie has to make. Granted, it's early in the season still. There's still plenty of room for improvement, but Fedotov needs to be better. Immediately. And then came the Flyers home opener. The Farg was packed. People were ready to go. People were out in the parking lot, tailgating before the game. It was great. And then the Flyers just simply didn't know how to score a goal. It was rough. Owen Tippett continues to not be able to know how to find the back of the net. Tons and tons of shot attempts for him, but still exactly 0 goals for him through 5 games. So not great. A positive from this game, though, Sam Ersson. Again, he looked real good, stopping 29 of 32 Vancouver shots. His season numbers on paper so far don't look amazing, but anyone watching these games can tell you right now that Sam Ersson is not the problem with this team right now. So for those keeping count, the Flyers are now 1-3-1 on the season, which gives them 3 points, and that puts them in dead last place, not just in the Metro, but in the Eastern Conference entirely. But again, the season is young. The Flyers might not be a playoff team, but certainly they're better than this. Right? Some news and notes. The Flyers reassigned defenseman Emil Andre to Lehigh Valley, which signals the seemingly imminent return of defenseman Nick Seeler. Andre was with the Flyers for pretty much their entire start to the season, but didn't see a single second of ice time, so that's a little bit of a bummer. And speaking of bummers, Sean Couturier is not looking like the Sean Couturier of old. He's not getting a ton of ice time. He even started on the 4th line in the home opener. He has just 1 point through 5 games. So that's not the best. Maybe it's just a slow start. Maybe this is just who he is now. If it's the latter, that ain't good. Looking ahead, the Flyers have 4 games on the docket this week. They'll take on the Washington Capitals Tuesday night at the Farg, and then on Wednesday, travel down I-95 and take on the Capitals again at Capital One Arena. And then they have another back-to-back. They'll have a home Saturday matinee against the Minnesota Wild, and then they'll take on the Montreal Canadiens at home as well Sunday evening. For more Flyers news and analysis and dumb stuff, go to BroadStreetHockey.com and be sure to follow us on all of our socials. Until next week, enjoy the hockey. BSH forever.